Well, that's all crooked. I got bad hair. Oh boy. I don't know. I'm just here early, and I don't even know what this looks like, or if you can hear me, or what's going on. I can see right away that there's a problem with the lighting. This is not good. I'm making faces. Somebody gave me a thumbs up. That's kind of weird. So, yeah. And I'm having a bad hair day. And I don't even know if this is recording. And I'm 15 minutes early. So I think I should just, I don't know. What can I do here? What are my options? I don't think I have any options. I think, oh, is somebody there? Hello? Somebody there? If you're there, you have to chat. Well, you don't have to chat. The only trouble is you can only chat if you subscribe to this channel. And I did that on purpose because I did not want a lot of folks just seeing a live stream and coming in and just chatting dopey things. I don't know if you've ever watched other live streams, but it's pretty common for folks to just join a live stream because they see it and then just type in really kind of stupid things. So anyway, you can, if you want to chat, you can become a subscriber. I think you have to be a subscriber for at least 5 minutes before you can chat. It's a shame that I started it early because now it's going to run 15 minutes earlier, longer than it should. And I know that it keeps wobbling, but that's because I'm on a table at my on my command bridge, and the table is wobbly, and I did not realize it was this wobbly. So I'm going to try to fix that. I'm going to just dive under the table right now. I don't know whose boat that is. That's going to make it any better. Whoop, I'm back. So I'm dark. The scenery behind me is bright because it's a really nice day. Other than sitting out in the sun, which I don't want to do, that's the way it's going to be. This thing you see behind me is my red, white, and blue streamer that hangs from my antenna, and the wind is blowing that way, so it's going to be behind me. Hopefully it won't go in my face. Once again, if you want to chat, you need to be, or ask me questions, you need to be a subscriber, and that's because I just want to keep out people who wander in and say dumb things. So I hope that doesn't scare any of you off. I am early. I don't really want to start, but this is recording, and I think that if I end the stream, it's going to end it, and I don't want to end it. So you could just watch me drink water. But if you can chat and you have any questions, ask me. I'm currently in Chicago. You are seeing DuSalle Harbor Marina behind me. It's where I'm parked. I am parked so close to the walkway. I'm the first boat off the walkway, which I really don't like because you have no privacy, zero privacy. So everybody walking by now is seeing me talk to my laptop screen. But it's okay because I see people walking by talking to themselves the whole time. They're probably on Bluetooth. But if you want to say hello, you have to be a subscriber. And I can't change that. I'm sorry. I wish I could change it. I don't know how to. Let's see. Touchdowns, reactions, pop-out chat. I don't even know. Participants. Let's see. It's me. It says there's 3 people here, but it's only showing me. Maybe because I'm the only subscriber. I'm not even a subscriber. Community moderation. Uh-oh. That wasn't good. Shit. I don't know. Okay, that's gone. I just made the screen go away. It's back. Moderation activity. I don't know what that is. Timestamps. Let's turn that on. I don't know what that's going to do for me. So I am, as I was saying, I am in DuSalle Harbor Marina, and I am parked very close to the walkway here, and everything is backwards to me. So I'm pointing to my right and then screen. Anyway, it's I don't know if you've ever been to Chicago. If you've never been to Chicago, it's a really nice city, and it reminds me a lot of New York because of the age. Basically, New York is older, but they grew up around the same time. They beautiful architecture, a lot of very friendly people, and there are this walkway is the lakefront. I don't know, lakefront walkway or lakefront path. It's got a name, and people walk by all day. And I if you're following me on Mastodon at all, you know that I get pretty sarcastic sometimes. And one of the things I said yesterday was that I know that the people in Chicago can string together, can read, are literate enough to read 3 one-syllable words at a time, because every time they walk by, they read the name of my boat, which is Do It Now. So I'm actually not getting very much of that today. I did meet a really nice couple from Australia this morning. I was up on my command bridge trying to scrub the spiders off the boat. You know, it's been a very difficult endeavor for me. And the husband stopped and said, "I like the name of your boat." And we talked about it being there. Somebody finally said something. Hi. I haven't seen an apple drying video for a while, and you won't see an apple drying video because I never dried apples. I dried cherries, but nope. And you won't see them on this channel either because this is my personal channel. Anyway, we had a nice long chat, and we talked about them coming to Chicago instead of New York or LA, where everyone thought that they should go visit. And they just, you know, really, really, really pleasant people. They wanted to take a picture with me, which is really kind of weird. But anyway, so it's kind of weird that my face is so dark. I don't have one of those fancy lights, so whatever. I don't mean to be a flip, J Hart, but this is my personal channel, and although there are some cherry drying videos on this channel from very early on, because this was my first channel, all my helicopter stuff is on Flying M Air channel, FLYING, the letter MAIR, Flying M Air. And then Roy, hey Roy, how are you? Hi Roy. I don't. Those of you, I assume you can all read it, but I'll read it out loud anyway. Roy says, "I followed this adventure since the start. Congratulations on crossing your wake. Have a safe trip home and towing my boat home." Yeah, towing my boat home, I think, is going to be the bigger challenge than actually doing the Great Loop. Let me just bring this down a tiny bit. Yeah. Okay. It's actually lightened up my face a little too, I think. The boat is around 32 feet long. But it's 10 feet wide. And if you know, and Roy knows, I know Roy knows a lot about trucking and moving big stuff across the country. If it's more than 8.5 feet wide, which is what most RVs and regular boats on trailers are, 8.5 feet is usually the max. If it's more than that, then you have a wide load. And if you have a wide load, you need permits and signage and sometimes flags and all kinds of things. And I have a very large truck, a Ford F-350, Super Duty diesel, blah, blah, blah. You know, 1-ton pickup, full bed, crew cab. It's a big truck. And I bought it to haul stuff, and I haul stuff with my truck. And one of the things I'll be hauling is this boat. So I had gotten a 36-foot trailer that was designed for this boat. And that trailer is only 8.5 feet wide. But once I get the boat on, it'll be 10 feet wide. And I'm not really looking forward to towing it. I'll take my time. It's 2,200 miles. And then JC is saying, "Hi, Maria. I can't believe I love you." Okay. Anyway, hi, JC, J/C. It's good to see you. It's good to see anybody coming in. And again, if you can't chat right now, it's because you need to be a subscriber. Sorry. But it does tend to keep the wanderers from making stupid comments and also spam. I've seen people go on to live chats that aren't protected this way, and they will just start spamming for their own channel, for other things. They'll say obscene things, really stuff. And I don't really want to have to moderate this as I'm doing it. So yes, trailering the boat back home is going to be my biggest challenge. So my plans here, so I arrived in Chicago yesterday, technically crossed my wake for the Great Loop, and then and I'm parked here at the marina, and I'm going tomorrow morning. I'm going to go to there's a place where I can pump out. Pumping out is what happens is the boat has a head, a toilet, and you use it, and when you flush, it goes into a tank. like in a regular RV. So it goes into a tank, but in order to dump it, you have to, it gets sucked out. There's a special equipment that you need to use. And most marinas have these. Well, about at least half the marinas have these. So there's one here. And when I leave here, I'll stop off there. I'll pump out my tank. And then I head back up to Waukegan, which is where I was yesterday, where I started yesterday morning. And there's a marina up there that's expecting me. In fact, I have to remember to give them a call later. They're going to do a whole bunch of maintenance work on the boat for me while I'm gone. And then when I get back with the boat trailer in about a week, they will take the boat out of the water and place it on my trailer. My trailer can be backed into the water, but although I bought it used, the previous owner who had the same boat as me, not this physical boat, but one just like this boat, he never ever put it into the water. So the trailer's never been in the water, which is really weird. So I'll have them put it on the boat, on the trailer, and then either leave right away or maybe leave the next morning when I'm ready, because I'll have to, strap it down. You see right above my eye, I've got my bimini top up. This has to come completely down. I have to take the canvas off of it. My boat also has a screened-in room in the back, if you've seen pictures in my blog or elsewhere. And that whole thing has to come down. The frame can stay, but all the canvas has to come out. The screens and all that has to come out. So that's got to be done. Everything, the seat that I'm sitting on, I have to wind up covering it. I've got to secure the covers so they don't fly off. Any loose items up here, my little tiki torches and I might leave my lights up, but all that stuff's got to come off the boat to prep it. And so yeah, that's what's my big chore for tomorrow. Then tomorrow, when I leave the boat there, I will take a train to the airport, O'Hare, and hopefully be able to, I don't know why the light is so dark. And I'm squinting into it anyway, it's because it's bright out here. I'm going to take a train, stay in a motel overnight with my dogs, and in the morning get on a plane to go home. So, oh, I see what you're saying now, JC. I can't believe I found you. You found me, yes. So, and does anybody have any questions about the trip? I was kind of hoping some folks that were doing the Great Loop might be interested in, asking me questions about it. It's quite an endeavor. I've been getting a lot of people saying how incredible it is that I did it. It's really not incredible. A lot of people do it. And then a lot of people do it solo. And I didn't do it totally solo, but I did do it mostly solo. And I'm just looking at this lady in the bathing suit that she shouldn't be wearing. Yeah, okay. So, trying to control myself. What any questions that you've got? I took my dogs to be groomed today. I rode my bicycle in Chicago, which is almost as crazy as riding it in New York. And it was, yesterday I rode it, and I swear I thought I was going to die. Google took me on a really stupid route, and I followed it blindly. But today I was a little more careful because I had my dogs with me, and we went to Petco, and they got groomed. Rosie got a lot of her hair cut off. Let's see where she is, though. Rosie, you up here? Hi, Rosie. Why don't you come on the camera here? Come here. Who wants to be on the camera? Here's Lily. Okay, wait. Here's Lily. Here's Lily girl. This is Lily, and she didn't get her hair shaved off because she doesn't have super long hair. But here's her sister, Rosie, and Rosie got a crew cut, and she really needed one. They're good boat dogs, and they followed me up to the command bridge. Oh boy, poor Rosie. She looks like a whole different dog. And yes, and hi, Brian. Nice to see you here. Yes, I'm glad I made the appointment too. It was kind of important. It's good to be in a big city because you can get a lot of stuff done. I had my eyes checked yesterday, and it was, my prescription changed and my eyes are actually better than they were, which is amazing, especially at my age. JC wants to know if there are any good wines along the way, and I look great. Well, thank you very much for looking. Telling me I look great, but I'm having a bad hair, dip a wine snob, and I like my Columbia Valley wines from where I live, and I like Napa Valley wines, California wines. So there were some states had wineries, and I tried to taste. I was somewhere in, I think I was in New York State. I was someplace, and they had winery. They had a place that advertised that they sold their local wine. So I went in thinking they'd have a tasting, and they didn't. So I'm like, oh, I'm not going to buy some strange New York wine unless I taste it. So I didn't get any wine. But that doesn't mean I didn't go to distilleries. I went to one recently in, oh gosh, where was it? The last couple of days have been like a whirlwind. It wasn't Frankfurt, it was another town before that. And they had a distillery, and gosh, what town was that? It's all a blur. But anyway, I went to a couple of distilleries and got some interesting whiskeys and bourbons. I bought a vodka that I thought what I would like, and I really don't. So, okay. Brian wants to know how the internet situation has been on the loop. Um, Interesting. Okay. So the loop is mostly inland with some exceptions. When I say inland, I should rephrase that. The loop is mostly close to shore. The exceptions would be crossing the Great Lakes, like I crossed Lake Michigan recently, and then I crossed Lake Ontario as well. And then there's like crossing the Gulf of Mexico. So those places you're away from land, and cell signal is non-existent. Um, when you're close to land, in most places you have a cell signal. My main phone uses for. However, I have a second iPhone, an old iPhone on board, and I have that one set up with Google Fi. So I've got two cell services at once. And the reason for that is that if I'm in a place with weak Verizon, I usually have Google Fi, because Google Fi is AT&T or oh gosh, what's the other one? I can't remember the other. It's a big company, and one of those picks up. Very seldom when I'm near land do I have neither of those. In Canada, my Verizon plan covers me in Canada with the local Canadian providers, Rogers, and there was a couple of other ones, and Google Fi also covers me in Canada. So basically the situation in Canada didn't change. However, there were some anchorages that I went to that were in, I don't want to say mountainous, because I'm from Washington, and mountains in Washington are like 5,000, 6,000 feet. The mountains on the east side of the country and also eastern Canada are a lot smaller. But all it needs to be is high enough to block the cell signal. And so a couple of anchorages, there was little to no cell signal at all. I would really like to get a Starlink for the boat, but I really hate Elon Musk, and I really do not want to give him any money. So unless I get desperate, where I'm throwing away my principles, which we all do when we have to, or he sells off SpaceX, it looks like it's going to be a while before, if ever, that I get a Starlink. So yeah, T-Mobile. T-Mobile is the other one that Google Fi does. I don't know about Sprint. You would say T-Mobile. So, internet's really important. Well, let's take a step back. Some kind of communications method is really important when you're on the loop on a boat trip, because if I have a problem, a big problem where I need help, I need to be able to call like Boat US to have them come and tow me or whatever. But then as I'm saying this, I'm realizing, well, I've got a VHF radio downstairs, and all I got to do is turn on channel 16 and put out a pon, or if it's really bad, mayday, 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 and tell them where I am and all that, and the Coast Guard will help, because that's what they do. So, and that's, even if I'm in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico or Lake Michigan, the Coast Guard's going to hear that. So anyway, that's hope that answers your question. I could talk about anything for like 2 hours. So I'll try not to do that today. Any other questions? Again, any of you joining us just now, if you're not a subscriber, you can't chat. You could become a subscriber by clicking the subscribe button, and I assume is somewhere, and then you can join the chat. It might take a few minutes for it to kick in. And again, the reason I do that is because I don't want to be spammed by whoever happens to be wandering by and seeing that there's an open live stream. What else can I tell you about the boat? Let me tell you a little bit about my boat. My boat is a 2019 Ranger Tug R29 CB. CB stands for Command Bridge, which is where I'm sitting right now. It's upstairs. I did not use the Command Bridge as much as I liked because of weather. I mean, you don't want to sit up here if it's raining. Yeah, there's a cover, but it's not going to keep you dry, or if it's cold or whatever. So I don't use this as much as I like to, but it's a wonderful place to hang out in the afternoon, have a martini, or just, watch the sky and watch people go by. Let me ask you another question then. Thank you, Brian, for asking another question. I wish more people ask questions. He wants to know if I have a favorite section or part of the loop. Okay, I do, and I just discovered it. I decided that I like the loop north of New York City. So basically, from New York City up the Hudson, which honestly, that's the area I grew up boating. I grew up boating on the lower Hudson River. So that's the area that I know real well. So any really above the Tappan Zee Bridge, which isn't called that anymore, and I like it beyond there. So I like the upper Hudson River. I like the Champlain Canal. I love Lake Champlain. It was great. I did that as a side trip. I love the Erie Canal, the whole Erie Canal, which I did the whole thing with Captain Paul a couple of years ago. This year I just did as far as the Oswego Canal, and then went up from the Oswego Canal into the Lake Ontario. There's the what is it called? 1,000 Islands, 10,000 Islands, something like that area, which is just to the east of Lake Ontario. And I did not do that, and I'd like to go back and do that. I'd also like to do the Rideau Canal, which goes from Ottawa to Kingston. In Canada. What I did do was the Trent Severn, which I love the Trent Severn waterway, another canal. I love the locks. I love docking along the locks. There's parks for my dogs to run in. It's just wonderful. All the little towns. And Georgian Bay I liked a lot. I love the anchorages out there. Wasn't too excited about the North Channel, but I think that's because I was sick. I developed what we think might be a sinus infection, earache, trouble swallowing, really miserable. And then the antibiotic they gave me just made me worse. So for 2 weeks, I was just really unhappy. So I think that if I was feeling better, I probably would have enjoyed it more. So yeah, the north stuff. In answer to your question, the other areas that are, I mean, the whole loop is interesting. What's great about the loop is that there's so many different parts of the loop. There's so many different types of waterways, rivers, canals, lakes, ocean, inlets, the intercoastal waterways, the Gulf of Mexico, the waterways next door here. What else? There's just so many different kinds. And when you do the Great Loop, you learn all these places and learn all kinds of waterways, and it makes you really a better boater. So, hi, Jason. How are you? Jason saying, congrats. Anything from your overall boat configuration setup would you do differently if you looped again or did long time liveaboard cruising again? Great question. The only thing that I wish this boat had that it doesn't is about 300 more watts of solar. I would like very much to be able to anchor somewhere for a week at a time without having to worry about power. This boat doesn't have a generator. I don't want to add a generator. I don't want to add air conditioning. I don't have that either. I don't need those things. And there's a few days that, yeah, I wish I had an air conditioner. But that's just, I think that it was, the screened-in room is great. The upstairs, you know my boat pretty well. It just has everything that I really want. Liveaboard, I want another full-size stateroom, so it would have to be another boat. It would probably be up to 40 feet is what I'm thinking about, maybe 12 feet wide total, not towable anymore. That would be in my future if I keep boating. So Mike Wallace wants to know if I crossed my wake, and yes, I did. I crossed it yesterday at this very place. Actually, the crazy thing is, so I'm at DuSable Harbor Marina, which is the place that I came after I launched my boat at Crowley's Yacht Yard, which is out in South Chicago. And I left there and I went to get some fuel at Hammond, and then I came here, and so I consider this my starting point. The crazy thing is they put me as an enormous marina. They put me in the slip right next to where I am right now. I was right next door, and when I pulled in, gosh, I was so green. I had maybe 20 days of experience on this boat. I was with my friend Janet, and they gave us this slip, and it's all the way in at the very end of the fairway. The fairways here are really narrow. It was a windy day. I had my bimini top up. It acts like a freaking sail. Again, I get my boat in there. And I go to, do what I have to do, and I'm doing okay. And there was another boat parked right where I am right now, and that was Kim and Ted in their Ranger Tug R31, so a little bit older than mine, but the next size bigger than mine. And they came out and they caught my lines and they welcomed us in, and that's where I started my loop. And I still talk to Kim almost every single day by text, and she even called me with a FaceTime video yesterday to congratulate me for crossing my wake. So, yes, so I crossed my wake. That was the answer to that question. Let me just go down the questions here. Let's see. Here we go. And then somebody, Ace Sport, the angler. I wish I had done more fishing on this boat while I was out. And yeah, I don't want to talk about Elon, but yeah, thank you, Mike, for the congrats. So ago, he's taking off now. I think a while ago, he's taking off now. I think the Democratic Convention is going to be in town either now or this week. Oh, that's not a military. I don't think that's Kamala or anybody important. But week. Oh, that's not a military. I don't think that's Kamala or anybody important. But I'm going to be leaving here tomorrow, so I won't have to deal with any of that. Things I wish I did different on the loop. I started the loop in, October. I think it was October 12th or 13th, 2022. I would not start it at this place. I would not start it that late in the year. I highly recommend being out of Chicago by October 1st. So at least 2 weeks earlier than I left. So go down. And then the other thing that I did that I went home for the month of November. So I was on the water for 3 weeks and then went home for 3 weeks and then came back. And the reason why that was a big pain in the butt, this helicopter just circled around. He's coming back in. Hold on. Let's let him make noise. It looks like almost looks like a Yui. The problem with that is that when I got back to the boat, which was in the St. Louis area at Alton, it was right after Thanksgiving. So the marinas up there, they do get some freezes in the winter. So they had already turned off their water. They had turned off some of their bathroom facilities. They had turned off their pump out. The facilities that boaters really depend on had been turned off. And then when I headed south from there with a different friend on board, I had friends on board for the first 6 weeks total. So it was Janet for the first 3 weeks and then Elise for the second 3 weeks. Well, we headed south and it was cold, like really cold, freezing. There was we didn't see any other. We got down to Green Turtle Bay, which is, that was about 10 days into our trip. And I regret that because it looked to me like if I had been there a month earlier, it would have been a very pleasant place to linger and spend some time at anchorages and really enjoy it. So I regret that too. Other than that, I had to take off last summer because I was still working. I retired after last summer, so I'm retired now. But because I couldn't come to cruise last summer, I couldn't do the northern part last year, which is why it's taken me this summer to do the northern part. So when I got back to the boat in October, I went all the way back down to Key West, and then turned around and came all the way back up. So that's why I've got over it's about 8,300 nautical miles on the loop. So that's my regrets. Let's see. Jason says my other question got deleted. Okay, I don't know why. I guess it was too close. I don't know. I didn't touch it. I swear. Do you have one anchorage that was your absolute favorite and recommend to all loopers? I have. I really liked Bay Fin, which is spelled Baie Fine. It's pronounced Bay Fin. I guess it's French, and that was up off of Georgian Bay. I really, really liked it. Zero cell signal. Not. I won't say it's hard to get to. It's just out of the way. And then when you get into this area, it's a big open area, and there's a lot of boats that know about it. So there's a lot of people anchored there, but there is plenty of room. And then once you're there, you can dinghy over to this little dock and bring the boat, tie the boat up there, bring the boat up on shore, your dinghy, that is. And there's hiking trails. You can go hike up to a lake where you can go swimming. You can hike up to the top of these rocky outcroppings where we picked wild blueberries and look down onto the anchorage. And there are all kinds of hiking trails in there to explore. So that was really, really nice. Zero cell signal. So that was one of my favorites. There was the one that actually Jason was with me. Oh gosh, what was it called? Something in Bull. It was along, I think it was in Georgia, might have been South Carolina, off the ICW, and you anchor in this really swift tidal current, but the anchor holds really good. Dolphins all over the place as you're anchoring, and then you can dinghy down to this beach where you can collect all these whelk shells. They're beautiful, beautiful shells, and I think that between the two of us, and then on my second visit I got more, we probably collected like 30 or 40 of these beautiful, pristine shells. So that was really, really nice too. And there's a couple of other places. Up in off Lake Champlain, there's an island like anchored into a little cove there. That was really nice too. I'm going to be updating my blog, going through all my anchorages and making an entry for each anchorage, hopefully with some pictures and as a reference guide to other loopers. So hopefully, if you're looking to anchor, anchoring out is the best way to save money because you're not paying for a marina. So, okay, let's see. What's the best single piece of advice for someone looking to do the loop? Okay. First of all, if you're looking to do the loop because you want to do it so you can tell your friends and impress people, you're doing it for the wrong reason. You should do the loop because you love boating, because you like the challenge of the navigation, the provisioning, taking care of your boat along the way, traveling safely, learning new skills, all these different things. This is the reasons that drove me to do it. I didn't do it so I can come tell my friends, oh, I did the great loop. First of all, if I told that to my friends, nobody knows what it is, so I'd have to explain it to them. Who the hell wants to do that all the time? It's like being a cherry drawing pilot and having to explain to everybody what that is. So not what I want to do. I learned so much in this trip. I got on this boat originally, I only owned this boat a month before I got on. And I was safe enough, but there were things I did back on my first week on the loop that I would never do now because I know better. And then there were things that I wouldn't do back then that nowadays it's like, well, why not? That's not a big deal. So you gain so much experience. My advice is look at your reason for doing it. Then the second thing is don't buy more boat than you need. You don't need very much boat. If it's just you, I mean, my boat is actually pretty generous for one person. A friend of mine did it on a 25-foot Rossborough, which is pretty basic little boat. And he was solo. This boat would be fine for two people. They have to like each other a lot. And it's definitely easy for one person to handle by themselves. And another thing I would say for a third piece of advice, I think you only asked me for one, best single. All right, well, I'm giving you three. And the third piece of advice, I don't know why this helicopter is doing circles, but it's really annoying me. The third piece of advice is make sure that the person that you go with, if you go with somebody, is either just as enthusiastic or almost as enthusiastic or maybe more enthusiastic as you are. Because if you are maybe part of a couple and you really want to go, but your spouse doesn't, and you're kind of dragging that person along, it's really a formula for disaster. My first two companions on board, one of them was all for it. I don't think either one of them really knew what they were in for, but the first one was able to deal with it. You know, this is not luxury by all means. But the second one was miserable, and she made me miserable. And honestly, I was, we were both glad when she got off the boat. So, Capers and Bulls, that's right, that's at Orchard. Bye, Brian. I'm sorry if you're gone already. Bye. Just saw that. So, hi, Chuck. Hi, Chuck. Another Macedonian. Chuck from Anchorage. Sorry you didn't have time to stop in Sheboygan. Yeah. It's been fun following my journey. Thank you very much. And I have tons of video footage, including chart plotter footage, which is going to be really neat to incorporate into with the camera looking out the front and the chart plotter. This is where we are. I can't wait to get that together. Well, actually, I can wait. Otherwise, I would have done it already. I can't wait to get home in front of a desktop computer and put that video together. So I will be back up here. If not in this boat, then it'll be in a bigger boat, a new boat. Did you hear that helicopter? Did you hear that? There are I don't like the Great Lakes, and there are lots of little towns along the Great Lakes, and they're all about 20 to 40 miles apart, because the Great Lakes have what are called safe harbors. Because if you're out on the lake and the lake turns mean, you need to get off the lake and you need to find a place where they'll take you in. So a lot of these little towns have safe harbors. It's like it's a curse, this helicopter thing. It's like getting back at me. These safe harbors have to take you in, and they all have breakwaters around them. So even if the marina is crammed with people, there's always going to be a place where you could drop an anchor. So a lot of these little towns are built up around these little safe harbors, and it's very pleasant. But again, I was too much in a hurry to get here, and that's because I should explain the reason I was in a hurry to finish by right now was I need to get my boat back to Washington to attend the Ranger Cutwater Rendezvous, which is right after Labor Day. So I need to fly home, get my truck and trailer, drive that back to Chicago, 2,000 miles, get the boat on the trailer, and then drive back to the Seattle area, 2,200 miles, and launch the boat before Labor Day. So that's why I was kind of in a hurry at the end. And the other piece of advice, I know Brian's probably gone by now, but he asked for advice, and the advice is don't do it on a schedule. Don't have a schedule. I mean, you can basically work your trip around any things that you have to do. And I talk about that on my blog for planning. Is like say you've got your daughter's getting married. Well, you're not going to miss that. So you just put that on your schedule. You say, okay, I need to be home on a break on this date. And then you just work your schedule around it. So you find a place where you can park the boat for a week or whatever you need and hop on a plane and go home and see the wedding and do that stuff and then come back to the boat. It's not really hard. Anyone else have a question? I just want to point out again, you have to be a subscriber. That's to keep the riffraff out. I'm hoping my subscribers are not riffraff. I don't know. And any questions you have about the Great Loop, I'd be happy to answer. I talked a little bit about my boat, other things about it that make it comfortable to live on, and a boat that if you're going to do a long cruise, whether it's the Great Loop or some other long cruise, you want to, what you want to do is get something that you're comfortable living on board, something that's got a refrigerator, that's got a stove, that's got a head, a shower, hot water, a comfortable bed, the things that you need to be comfortable. So any of, at a very surface are that I've met along the way. I've met a ton of people along the way. My boat is almost the smallest of all of them. Nagi's boat is a little smaller. Like I said, he had the Rossborough. Who else had a smaller boat than me? There must have been somebody else. I can't think of them right now. Salons in, where you go in and there's a sofa and, dining area with chairs. And, I've got like a little area that I sit at. And these boats are really, really well designed. JC says, okay, so wait, let me go backwards, sorry. Marty McDaniel said, I got here when did you cross your wake? I crossed my wake yesterday, so in Chicago here. I'm at DeSalle Harbor Marina. JC said, I really enjoy reading your blog. You're a great writer. Have you thought about a book? Yes. Well, first of all, you need to understand that my second career was as an author. I wrote books about how to use computers, which is not the same as books about the Great Loop. And I wrote 85 of them. I wrote 85 books. And yes, they were all published, and they earned me a very, very good living in the 1990s and 2000s. Enough to get me ready for my next career, which was flying helicopters and doing all that, which then is in this career now, which is not really a career yet, but I have my captain's license and I'm hoping to do some training and some charter trips and whatnot. In fact, I should actually mention that here. I'm gearing up to, I'm offering services to help other people who are starting their loops. And they're a little nervous. They don't know what to do, and they want someone on board who can guide them and help get them to focus on what needs to be done. I'd like to do that for folks this winter, starting in mid-October until probably mid-April. I'd be available to do that for 1 to 3 weeks. So a little commercial there. So my being a great writer, thank you very much. But I've been writing for a really long time, and I am thinking about a book. The blog posts are probably going to be folded into a book, including more content that I haven't written yet. So this winter, I'm spending the whole winter at home for the first time since I moved to Washington State. And I'm going to sit in front of, I have a whole schedule of things I need to do. I'm going to make videos from all the footage that I collected in the past couple of months. And I'm also going to fill in the gaps on the blog and turn that into a book. I'm going to try to do that without a Kickstarter because I really don't like Kickstarter. But it would also help me to gauge interest in such a book. So we'll see. So we'll see how that goes. But thanks for the compliment. And yeah, I really would like to get it out in a book. I think it could help a lot of people because everyone's experience on the Great Loop is different. And I'm not here to tell somebody how to do it. I'm just telling them how I did it. And if they read how I did it and how this guy did it and how that guy did it and look at and talk to people and how are you doing it, you learn a bunch of stuff and then you formulate your own way of how you're going to do it. So I did 5 weeks on the Great Loop with Captain Paul in his Ranger Tug R27, which is smaller than this. And there were 3 of us on board, which turned out to not be a good thing. But with him, the loop is he found a list of stops and he basically cruised from stop to stop. And we were cruising at 12 knots, started at dawn every morning, cruised, 40, 50, 60 miles, whatever. We were cruising at 12 knots, started at dawn every morning, cruised, 40, 50, 60 miles, whatever, stopped for the day. And then the next day, we'd start up and do it again. And then that's what I was with Paul. But then Captain John, and I was on his boat, a larger boat. It was just the 2 of us. I had my own cabin. It was really nice. Well, John's likes to do it really slow. So he's cruising at like 6 knots. And it's taking us hours to go hardly anywhere. And then when we get to a place, we were there for 2, 3, 4, up to 7 nights. And that's a little bit slow. I wanted to do it in between, so that's what I wound up doing. I was on the loop. Let's look at the numbers. Actually, it's right here. Hold on, see if I can move this window. Let's see if I can find my cursor. Nope, I have no cursor. Oh, there it is. I don't know what's going on with this stupid thing. I don't know what this thing is either. I got all these windows. If I make that go away, what happens? I don't know. That I can make go away. Hold on, I'm doing computer stuff. Oh, I guess I closed it. Yeah, I did close it. Anyway, I was on the loop for 400 and some odd days of being on the boat, sleeping on the boat. And then of that, a little bit more than half of that were travel days. So I averaged a little bit, almost 2 nights per stop. Just making sure my bike is still back there. See a guy walking by. So that's it. That was a pretty long time. It came out to 15 months. When you look at the whole calendar and you take out the times that I was off the boat and then just round it, it came out to about 15 months of traveling. Any other questions? Nope. I don't know. I'm out of water almost. Got really dry. I can't find my cursor again. I really appreciate you folks coming to this live stream. I hope that I'm providing you with some information that's useful. I'm hoping you can hear me above the sound of this, obviously practicing helicopter. It's a funny thing because I flew helicopters for 20 years, and I did not miss flying helicopters until, hold on, yeah, that's him, until I got to Milwaukee, which was 2 stops before this one. And Milwaukee has somebody or multiple people with an R-44 helicopter, which is what I used to fly. And he apparently does tours around sunset and in the evening. So as I was at the marina there in Milwaukee for 2 nights, I would hear this guy every night, and I would look up and I would think, man, I used to do that. And I kind of started missing it. And now, there's this big helicopter that's doing this practice runs. I don't know what's going on there. And watching him, and also I was at Jason's place in DC, and he's got helicopters there all the time. And I didn't miss it when I was hearing that. But as soon as I started seeing these R-44s going by, and there's one here that goes by, now it's making me miss it again. So, but there's no more helicopters in my future, and that's okay. Because a boat is expensive enough to take care of. A helicopter is off the charts expensive to take care of. So, I don't know. What else? Anything else? I mean, I don't want to. It's good if I can make this short, but I did start a little early. Okay. Followed me up to. It's Pete Hall says. I followed you up to, I don't know, for some reason there's this little icon there and it keeps cutting people's words off. I think you said Atlantic City. Great video, missed the other videos. Okay, so I think the Atlantic City, I'm trying to think if I had one after that. I had a couple about locking. I had one about locking. I had one about going up the Lake Champlain and coming back down. So there's a couple of other ones. The ones that I have the video footage for after that, a lot of them I think are going to be a lot better because I needed to get a method. It's easy to just use the camera and just take pictures of stuff and put it together as a collage and talk about it at the end, or it's really easy to just be a talking head and say, oh, this is what I did today, and you just rattle off what you did that day in 15 minutes and it's a video and it's done. There's no real value in that. I think that people want to see stuff and they want to, I think what sets my videos apart, some of them, not all of them, from a lot of other folks is that I'm talking more about what I'm doing and why, and people who don't know about boating or want to learn about boating find value in that. So, I'll come into a marina and I'll say, okay, I'm slowing down to forward idle speed. And remember, every time you're in a marina, you don't want to make wake. And then I'll talk about how if I go into neutral, I lose, I don't have as much control of the boat. And when I go in reverse, there's no steering and things like that people don't know. And they get to learn that. And I think that's helpful. The gold burgee, I am not, Marty wants to know if I am thinking about the gold burgee. And I am not thinking about the gold burgee because the truth of the matter is I don't belong to that club. I used to belong to that organization. I don't even like to call it a club in all honesty. That particular organization that has the burgees, and I don't even want to mention them by name, that is a for-profit organization, and I had a run-in with the owner because the owner did not like me putting. There's a couple of things, but one of the things is the owner wanted me to pay to mention in the signature line of my forum posts that I was a captain. She said that in order for me to say that I was a captain and that I offer training services or whatever, I have to be a sponsor. In other words, I have to give her money. And I decided that they get money for joining, they get money for your membership. I'm sorry, I'm on a chat right now. I can't talk. Okay, oh, but come back and soon. Sorry. Okay. Somebody's the you pay to be a member, you pay to get the white burgee, you pay to get the gold burgee, you pay to get the shirt with your name on it, you pay for the rendezvous. You when I first joined, you were paying for all the videos. They had videos on Vimeo and you had to pay to watch them, and I think that they finally got wise on that and stopped that. It's the whole purpose of that organization is to make money. The information that they provide in their forums, nobody checks the accuracy. I have a firsthand example with documentation of one of their members who's very in with the group, complaining about a specific marina on the Hudson River that anybody who's done the loop probably knows about it, complaining how horrible this marina was, but then writing a glowing review about it because now they asked me to and they're a sponsor. Well, really? So how is that serving members? So I don't want to support that group, so I'm not going to get a burgee. The burgee that's on my boat right now, I got it for free, and I hang it upside down, and it's coming off and never going back on. So got a sore subject there with me, and there I said it. Sorry. Okay. And let's see. Pete Hall wants to know, why did you pick your tug? Why not a 31 or a 43? Okay. Good question. First of all, why not a 27? Because it's easier to tow, and it's really not that much for one person. It's, it wasn't big enough. Too narrow means that it does too much of this in rough water. And the newer ones had an outboard motor, which is really dumb because the benefit of an inboard motor is that, while I'm driving my boat, it's charging all my batteries and it's heating up my water. So that when I get to an anchorage, I've got hot water for 2 days. Whereas if you have an outboard motor, it's not going to do that. Plus, they added some features on that boat that were pretty dumb. For example, there's a barbecue grill in the back, real nice little outdoor kitchen. You think it'd be a great idea, but it's electric. An electric grill. Who does that? I don't know what they're thinking with that. So R27 was out, although an older one would have worked. Pre 2017 or earlier would have worked. The 31, I did look at a number of 31s, and honestly, the price difference between the 29 and the 31 was pretty considerable. We're talking, the ones I looked at, I was looking at 40,000 more. That's a lot of money. And I did not see the benefit. It does have a second head. The cave space, in other words, the secondary sleeping space, which is where that second head is a little bit larger. So that's nicer if I had a companion on board who doesn't mind sleeping with their head next to the head. So that was, and it, I just didn't see the benefit of it. I did want a command bridge. That was a must-have. I had to have a command bridge because I really like being upstairs. The 43, they start at $1.2 million. I don't have that kind of money. So it was a money thing. Plus, you can't trailer them. They're I'm thinking they're 14 or 15 feet wide. They've got twin engines. So now you got two engines to feed and care for. They're pod engines. So if I think they're more susceptible to damage if you get into shallow water. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. And it just didn't, they're beautiful boats. If I had one of those, I wouldn't be lusting after a larger boat because I'd have everything I need. But it was just too much money and not for this trip. I hope that answers the question. It's I'm hoping that the folks at Ranger Tugs let me do a seminar at the rendezvous about why the 29 and 31 and even 27 are the perfect boats for the Great Loop. But I'm not sure. It's a the audience is way out in Washington, and I'm not sure if they're going to want me to do that. So let's see. Did you do any work while you were on your journey, or was the entire time spent enjoying the trip? I did a lot of writing. I did some video work. I did do a little writing in the beginning for Waterway Guide, but I've since pretty much stopped doing that. I did, let's see, when I was down off of, Bald Head Island, which is near Southport, North Carolina, I took the ferry to Bald Head Island, and I met up with the owner of a jewelry store, and I sold him some of my jewelry wholesale. I'm a silversmith. That's one of my retirement jobs, and sold some jewelry to him. And so that was kind of work, I'll write off the ferry fare or whatever. What else did I do? Other than that, no, not I. I wish that I had spent more time enjoying the trip and less time working. In all honesty. And Pete wants to know: do I have any plans of going to the Bahamas? Maybe if I come back in a larger boat. If I do buy a larger boat, I will buy it on the East Coast, so I don't have to move it over here, and it'll stay on the East Coast. When I say East Coast, I mean everything east of where I am now. Anywhere east of the Great Loop, on the Great Loop or east. If I thought about it this year when I was down there, but the weather was really bad, and I'm glad I didn't go, because finding a good weather window was not easy, and I don't know enough about it to, I mean, maybe down the road someday. Wouldn't mind doing with a buddy boat. I don't think I'd want to do it solo though, like solo in my own boat without anybody else. Anything else? We're almost up to an hour now. I see there are 18 people. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. If you're watching this now as it's recorded, because they record it and then they'll put it into my stream, whatever, and people can see it. I'm sorry you couldn't make it, and I hope I answered some of the questions you had. And if you have any other questions, you can post them on this video in the comments, and I will try to get to them when I review comments. I want you to, if you're interested in doing the Great Loop and you want stories about the Great Loop, please do check out the blog. It's called mygreatloop.com. Just the words, mygreatloopadventure.com, all together, one word. And that's got the stories, not only stories from my personal trip on this boat, but also my cruises with Captain Paul and Captain John. So Captain Paul would be 2021 and Captain John was 2022. So, and I started this in the autumn of 2022, finishing up yesterday. So that's good. And then there will be a book. I'm hoping I can get it all together, but before the end of the winter. And my big promise, I would like to put color photos in it, and I'm not sure if I can get the publishing to do color photos without the book costing a fortune, because people don't want to spend $50 for a book about Maria's trip on the Great Loop. They want to spend $20 for it, and I want color pictures, but if I can't do color pictures, well, we'll see what I can do. So there's that, and then I was also thinking about a podcast, but I have that ship has sailed, no pun intended, because now I'm done with the loop and I'm leaving this area. But if I do come back in 2026 and I am cruising on the path of the Great Loop, I will definitely be doing a podcast interviewing other loopers, because I'd really, really like to do that. And I regret not doing it this year, but I just could not get my act together. I want to be a good source of information. There's a lot of information out there. If you are interested in doing the loop, and you go online and you will see the organization that I don't like, and I'm not telling you not to join it. If there's information there, I do want to warn you that the information there comes from multiple sources. The sources you want to believe and trust are the people who have actually done it, not the people who want to do it and they read about this and that and other different places. Those people don't. They're armchair people. They don't know. Unfortunately, the folks who own the site and manage the site and they provide information, You got to take everything they give you with a grain of, with some salt or whatever it is. I forgot what the saying is. But you got to not believe every single thing they write, because they will push their sponsors, the people who give them money, they will push them no matter how bad they are. They will push them. So they'll tell you, oh, you got to go to this marina. It's the greatest marina, and their sponsors, and blah, 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 blah. And they'll give you a discount if you come and all that. Well, they jack up the prices before they give you the discount. And then they've got, who knows how good they are. Some of them are good. Some of them aren't good. The point is that you have to understand that they've got an agenda. So when they're providing you information, the information they provide meets their agenda. So again, the best places to get information about the Great Loop are from people who have done the whole thing or even parts of it. I mean, there are people who do half of it and they're done. They don't feel like doing the rest. Well, they still know a lot about what they did. So they're useful, people to help too. So just and then also read. There's a couple of books out there. Do not buy The Looper's Companion. I have heard nothing but bad things about that. The person who wrote that book, and he knows what I'm talking about, is watching this. I'm sorry, but I heard all the stories, and I heard that the information's not reliable and it's not properly updated, and also the source of the information is not necessarily the person who wrote the book. So I would not support that particular book. I read Tanya, oh gosh, I'm thinking her name was Binsley, something like that. Crossing My Wake, or Crossing the Wake. A woman in a Ranger tug, an R25, which is a lot smaller than this, did it solo. And I read that book, and what I took away from the book is that, wow, if she could do it, I can do it. And there's a lot of information in there, and the front story is really long, and she was really into writing in the middle, and then in the end she kind of, I don't know, I think she just got the get home-itis and she just wanted to be done. And a lot of people, that happens to a lot of people. Happened to me a couple of weeks ago when I was sick. So but it's a good, another good source. Anybody who's actually done it and written about it, and they're not affiliated with this one or getting money from that one to say good things about, to lie, basically. Though that's your sources, good sources. So I hope that helps. I see no more questions. It's about an hour now. It's not. I'm 9 minutes short of the end of when I should be ending, but I think I'm going to end it now. End on a high note. Otherwise, I could just blog. If you like it, I just recently my channel qualified for limited monetization. So there's like super likes and memberships and stuff that you folks can do if you want to reward me. I always appreciate that. I have to buy a desktop computer. I cannot edit video on this laptop. It makes me insane. So anything you folks want to chip in, that would be really great. Yeah. JC says I tell it like it is. And I get in trouble for it all the time. But you know what? I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to anybody. It's not why, right? So thanks very much for the comments, everybody. Thanks for joining me. And if you are on the Great Loop, please do comment for this video because I want to hear from you. And if you have any questions, just let me know. That's it. Thanks very much, everyone. Take care. Bye. And yes.